My lifelong best friend confessed she slept with my boyfriend, but he absolutely denies it and claims she is obsessed. Hello everyone. Before we start today's video, I need your help. We've noticed that the channel is losing traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can help us. It's simple, free, and allows us to keep bringing you great content. Your support means everything to us. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thank you very much. Now let's begin the video. So since some of you have requested the complete tale, I guess I should start at the beginning. This is going to be long, but whatever. Okay, Reddit, deep breaths. I need some outside perspective because my brain feels like scrambled eggs right now, for real. I am Chloe. I am 28 years old, female. My boyfriend Liam is 30 years old, male, and we have been together for 5 amazing years. Or well, what I thought were 5 amazing years. My best friend Olivia, also 28 years old, female, has been my rock, my sister from another mister, literally since we were 5 years old, playing in the sandbox together. Our families are close, we did everything together. She was supposed to be my maid of honor one day. Liam knew how much Olivia meant to me, and they always seemed to get along fine. Cordial, you know, not best buddies, but definitely friendly enough. We would all hang out, go on trips sometimes, the Three Musketeers occasionally. So picture this. Last Friday night, Liam was working late, or so he said. He works in finance, long hours are pretty standard, especially end-of-quarter stuff, so I did not think anything of it. Olivia called me around 9 p.m., sounding really weird. Her voice was shaky, and she asked if she could come over right away. My stomach immediately did a flip-flop because Olivia is usually the bubbly, confident one. Hearing her sound so distressed was alarming. I told her, of course, come over now. She arrived looking like she had seen a ghost. Pale, eyes red-rimmed, hands trembling. She sat on my couch, took a huge shaky breath, and then just blurted it out. She said, "Chloe, I have something terrible to tell you. I slept with Liam." Reddit, I swear the air got sucked out of the room. I think my heart actually stopped for a second. I just stared at her, completely unable to process those words coming out of her mouth. Olivia, my Olivia, and Liam, my Liam, it felt like a scene from a really bad movie. I must have looked like a fish gasping for air because she started crying, big, gulping sobs. She said it happened about 3 weeks ago, after that work party Liam's firm threw downtown. Remember I mentioned Liam worked late sometimes? Well, this party was one of those nights, and I couldn't go because I had a prior commitment, a charity thing I organize every year. Olivia had gone, mostly because one of her cousins works at the same firm and invited her along, plus she knew Liam would be there. She said they both drank way too much. She claimed Liam was complaining about us, saying things felt stale, that I was too focused on work, stuff that honestly blindsided me because he had never expressed anything like that to me. According to her, one thing led to another. They ended up back at his coworker's empty apartment nearby. The coworker was out of town, and it just happened. She said she regretted it instantly and has been physically ill with guilt ever since. She kept saying she could not live with the secret anymore, that I deserved to know the truth, that she was so sorry. She cried about how she had ruined everything, our friendship, possibly my relationship. I was just numb, frozen. I could not speak. Part of me wanted to scream, to rage, to throw her out of my apartment. Another part, the part that has known and loved Olivia for over 20 years, felt this crushing wave of confusion and betrayal. How could she? How could Liam? After what felt like an eternity of silence, punctuated only by her sobbing, I finally managed to croak out some words. I asked her why. Why would she do this to me? Why would Liam? She just shook her head, saying it was a horrible mistake fueled by alcohol and stupid insecurities on both their parts. She insisted Liam initiated it, feeding her lines about feeling neglected. She painted him as this manipulator, preying on her vulnerability when she was drunk. Liam got home around 11 p.m. that night, expecting a normal end to his workday. He walked in, saw Olivia sobbing on the couch and me looking like death warmed over, and immediately knew something was wrong. His usual cheerful greeting died on his lips. "What is going on?" he asked, his eyes darting between us. I could not even look at him. Olivia, through her tears, repeated her confession. Liam's reaction was instantaneous and explosive. He went white, then red. He started yelling, calling Olivia a liar, a psycho, asking what the hell she was playing at. He swore on his mother's grave, on everything holy, that nothing happened between them. He said yes, they were both at the party, yes, they talked, yes, they both had a few drinks, but he left alone and went straight home afterward. He claimed Olivia had always been weirdly fixated on him, that she misinterpreted friendliness for something more, and that this was her twisted way of trying to break us up because she was jealous or lonely or both. He said she'd made comments before that made him uncomfortable, little flirty things he'd brushed off because she was my best friend. He sounded utterly convincing, genuinely outraged and disgusted by the accusation. He turned to me, his eyes pleading, "Chloe, baby, you know me. You know I would never, ever do that to you, especially not with Olivia. Think about it, does this make any sense? She's your best friend. So now I am stuck in this impossible situation. Olivia, my lifelong friend, sobbing, claiming a drunken mistake fueled by Liam's supposed complaints and initiation. Liam, my partner of 5 years, vehemently denying everything, painting Olivia as a delusional liar with an ulterior motive. Both stories cannot be true. One of them is lying to my face, betraying me in the deepest way possible. Olivia offered no concrete proof. No texts, no photos, just her word, her tears, her guilt. She said it happened at a coworker's place, someone I don't know, and they were careful not to leave evidence. She claims Liam begged her to keep it secret afterward, promising it meant nothing. Liam, on the other hand, points to the lack of proof as evidence of her fabrication. He offered his phone, his email, anything I wanted to check. He suggested we talk to the cousin who invited Olivia to the party, or other people who were there, to verify his version of events, that he left alone. He seems genuinely desperate for me to believe him. He keeps saying Olivia has been acting strange around him for months. My head is spinning. Olivia has never been a malicious person. We have shared everything. Why would she invent such a devastating lie? It would destroy our friendship irrevocably. What could she possibly gain? On the other hand, Liam has always been steady, loving, devoted. Cheating seems so out of character for him, especially with my best friend. But people cheat all the time, even the ones you least expect, right? And his denial was maybe a little too loud, a little too performative, or am I just looking for cracks because the alternative, that Olivia would lie like this, is almost too painful to comprehend? Liam is currently sleeping on the couch. I told him I needed space to think. Olivia went home, leaving me with this giant mess. I feel sick to my stomach. I cannot eat, I cannot sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see Olivia's tear-stained face or Liam's furious denial. Who am I supposed to believe, Reddit? My gut is just a tangled knot of confusion. Part of me wants to believe Liam because losing him and Olivia simultaneously feels unsurvivable. But what if Olivia is telling the truth and I am siding with the man who betrayed me? What steps should I take? Do I try to find proof? Do I confront them together? I feel completely paralyzed. What would you do in my situation? Am I the asshole if I demand proof from Olivia, or if I start investigating Liam behind his back? I just need some clarity. Please help. Update 1. While okay, first off, thank you Reddit, seriously. I posted this late last night, feeling completely lost and alone, and I woke up this morning to my phone absolutely blowing up. Hundreds of comments, messages, awards. It is overwhelming, but in a good way. Knowing that so many strangers took the time to read my rambling mess and offer advice means more than I can say right now. A lot of you shared similar experiences, which is heartbreaking but also weirdly comforting, like I am not the only person navigating this specific brand of hell. Some friends might recognize parts of this story. I did change some identifying details for privacy, but the core nightmare is real. Reading through the comments gave me a lot to think about. The vast majority seem to lean towards Liam being the liar. The statistics on cheating, the vehemence of his denial being a classic deflection tactic, the idea that Olivia has little to gain and everything to lose by lying, it all makes logical sense. But logic and emotion are having a serious battle in my head right now. Believing Liam is the easier path in some ways, the one that causes slightly less immediate destruction, even if it means potentially living a lie. Believing Olivia means accepting that my partner is a cheat and a liar, and my best friend participated. There is no easy answer here. Liam is still trying incredibly hard to convince me of his innocence. He has been apologetic for yelling but stands firm on his denial. He keeps repeating how much he loves me, how Olivia is trying to sabotage us. He brought me coffee this morning, trying to act normal, but there is this tension hanging in the air that you could cut with a knife. He again offered his phone, suggested we call people from the party. He asked me, "Chloe, look me in the eyes. Do you really think I could do this?" And honestly, looking into his eyes, the eyes I have loved for 5 years, it is hard. It is really, really hard to believe he is capable of such a betrayal. But then I remember Olivia's face, the sheer misery and guilt etched there. She looked broken. A lot of you suggested talking to the cousin who invited Olivia to the party, or other mutual acquaintances who might have been there. That seems like a logical next step. Liam seems confident this will exonerate him. Olivia, when I called her briefly this morning, a very strained, awkward call, did not object but sounded resigned. She just said people might not have noticed details, especially if they were drinking too. She mentioned Liam was very careful, pulling her aside, finding moments when people were distracted. She also mentioned the name of the coworker whose apartment they supposedly went to, Mark Peterson. She said Mark was away on a business trip in Chicago that whole week. This is a concrete detail I can potentially verify. Liam paled slightly when I mentioned the name Mark Peterson and the apartment detail during a calm moment this morning. He recovered quickly, saying Olivia must have heard Mark was away and is using that to build her lie, knowing Mark cannot immediately refute it. But his initial reaction, it felt telling, or maybe I am just projecting again. Someone suggested asking Olivia for details only someone who was intimate with Liam would know. Specific birthmarks, scars, habits. It feels incredibly invasive and gross, but maybe necessary. I have not decided if I can bring myself to do that yet. Another common piece of advice was to look for changes in Liam's behavior leading up to this. Looking back over the past month, maybe. He was a bit more distant sometimes, but he blamed work stress. He was also maybe a little quicker to get defensive if I questioned him about small things. But hindsight is 20/20, right? It is easy to see patterns when you are actively looking for them. There was also a day about 2 weeks ago when he came home smelling faintly of a perfume that was not mine. I asked him about it, and he laughed it off, saying he probably brushed past someone at work or on the packed train. At the time, I accepted it. Now, it feels like a massive red flag waving frantically in my memory. Was it Olivia's perfume? I do not even know what perfume she wears regularly these days. For now, Liam is staying at his friend James's place. I told him I needed real space, not just him sleeping on the couch radiating tension. He protested but eventually agreed. Olivia has been texting me apologies and saying she understands if I need space, but she is there if I need to talk. The silence in my apartment is deafening. My next steps are, 1. Try to contact Mark Peterson, the coworker whose apartment was allegedly used. This feels like the most solid piece of potential evidence either way. If he confirms he was out of town and no one should have been in his apartment, it lends credibility to Olivia's story. If he says he was home, or that Liam definitely wasn't there, it supports Liam. 2. Maybe casually reach out to Olivia's cousin or other people from the party, framing it carefully, just asking about the night in general, see if anything slips out about who left with whom. 3. Try to process my own feelings, away from both of their influences. Thank you again, Reddit. Your support is a lifeline right now. I will update again when I know more. This is just the worst. Update 2. Hello again, Reddit. It has been a few days since my last update, and things have gotten, well, clearer in some ways and infinitely messier in others. My post continued to get a surprising amount of attention, and reading your comments each morning has become a strange sort of ritual. Thank you for the continued support and the excellent, if sometimes difficult to swallow, advice. So, the investigation. I feel like a low-budget detective in my own life story. First, Mark Peterson, Liam's coworker. Finding his contact info wasn't too hard through company channels. I have indirect access to perks of my own job intersecting sometimes. I reached out, keeping it vague, mentioning I heard he was away recently, and just wanted to check on something work-related Liam had mentioned needing from his desk. Playing dumb, basically. Mark confirmed he was indeed in Chicago for a conference the entire week Olivia mentioned. Crucially, he also confirmed that absolutely nobody had permission to be in his apartment while he was gone. He sounded quite annoyed at the suggestion someone might have used it. He specifically mentioned he had asked a neighbor to collect his mail, but no one else should have had access. Ding, ding, ding. This definitely punches a hole in Liam's story, or at least makes Olivia's very specific detail seem less like a random fabrication. She knew Mark was away and she named him. How? Liam's explanation that she just overheard Mark was away feels weaker now. Second, I spoke casually to Olivia's cousin, Sarah, who was also at the party. Sarah confirmed both Liam and Olivia were there, and both were drinking quite a bit. She said Liam did seem a bit down, complaining about work stress mostly. She did not see them leave together, but admitted the end of the night was hazy for everyone. She said she last saw Olivia talking to Liam near the bar area quite late, maybe around 1 a.m., but then she got caught up saying goodbye to people and lost track of them both. Not exactly a smoking gun, but it does not contradict Olivia's timeline either. It also confirms Liam was complaining, though Sarah thought it was just about work. Olivia insists he was complaining about me. The perfume incident from a couple of weeks ago kept nagging at me. I did something I am not proud of, Reddit. I went over to Olivia's apartment yesterday while she was at work. I still have a key from years of pet sitting. I know, violation of privacy, terrible friend move, but I felt desperate. I went straight to her bedroom, her bathroom. I looked for her perfume bottles, and there it was. A specific, slightly floral, slightly musky scent I recognized instantly as the one I had smelled on Liam that day. My blood ran cold. It is not definitive proof they slept together that *specific day, but it proves he was close enough to her recently for her scent to transfer strongly onto him. And he lied about it, laughing it off. Armed with the Mark Peterson info and the perfume memory clicking into place, I felt sick. The weight of evidence was shifting dramatically towards Olivia telling the truth. The thought made me want to vomit. My Liam, my sweet, dependable Liam, a liar and a cheat, and with Olivia. It felt like a double betrayal dagger twisting in my gut. I haven't confronted Liam with this new information yet. I needed to process it myself first. He has been texting and calling, alternating between being sweet and remorseful. For the situation, not for cheating. He still denies that, and getting frustrated that I am dragging this out and letting Olivia manipulate me. His impatience is actually making him look more guilty in my eyes now. If he were truly innocent, wouldn't he be patient, understanding that my trust has been shattered and needs time to heal, regardless of the truth? His pressure feels like he wants this swept under the rug quickly before more comes out. Olivia, meanwhile, has been mostly quiet, respecting the space I asked for, just sending the occasional text asking if I am okay. When I briefly told her I spoke to Mark Peterson and confirmed he was out of town, she just sounded sad. She said, "I told you, Chloe. I wish I hadn't, but I did." She did not seem triumphant or vindicated, just resigned and heartbroken. So where does that leave me? Pretty much convinced that the unthinkable happened, that my boyfriend cheated on me with my best friend. The anger is starting to bubble up now, replacing some of the shock and confusion. Anger at Liam for his betrayal and his lies. Anger at Olivia for her part in it, even if she seems genuinely remorseful now. Anger at myself for maybe missing signs, though rationally I know that is not fair. They are the ones who made the choices. The big question now is the confrontation. How do I do it? Do I confront them separately, together? What do I even want the outcome to be? Obviously, the relationship with Liam is over. There is no coming back from this level of deceit. The trust is not just broken, it is atomized. The friendship with Olivia, that is harder. 23 years of history. Can it be salvaged? Should it be? Right now, I feel betrayed by her just as much, even if her confession felt like the right thing to do after the fact. I am leaning towards confronting Liam first, laying out the evidence I have gathered, Mark Peterson's confirmation, the perfume connection, his defensiveness, Olivia naming Mark's apartment specifically. I want to see his face when he realizes I know, or at least am 99.9% sure. Then, I need to figure out what to do about Olivia. This whole situation is just devastating. It feels like my entire support system crumbled overnight. But your comments, Reddit, have genuinely helped me feel less alone and more empowered to seek the truth, even though the truth hurts like hell. I will update again after the confrontation. Wish me luck. Update 3. Well, Reddit, it happened. The confrontation. And it went about as horribly and explosively as you might expect. Strap in because this was rough. Thank you again for all the messages and support. Knowing I had this anonymous army cheering me on gave me a bit more strength than I thought I had. After my last update, I spent another day just steeling myself. I decided to confront Liam first, alone. I needed to do it face to face, not over the phone. I texted him and asked him to come over to my apartment to talk, making it clear this was serious. He agreed immediately, probably thinking he had another chance to plead his case. He arrived looking hopeful, which almost made me feel pity for him. Almost. He sat on the couch, the same couch Olivia sat on when she confessed. The irony was not lost on me. I stayed standing. I did not offer him a drink or any pleasantries. I just looked at him and started talking, my voice surprisingly steady considering my insides were churning. I told him I had done some checking. I told him I spoke to Mark Peterson, who confirmed he was out of town that entire week and that absolutely no one had permission to be in his apartment. I watched Liam's face. The color drained from it instantly. His hopeful expression vanished, replaced by panic. Before he could formulate a response, I continued. I told him Olivia had specifically named Mark's apartment as the location. How would she know that detail, Liam? How would she know he was gone that specific week unless she was there? I then mentioned the perfume incident from a couple of weeks ago, how I recognized Olivia's scent on him, the scent I found in her apartment. I saw him flinch. He started to sputter, grasping at straws. Maybe Mark's neighbor let them in. Maybe Olivia broke in. Maybe she stalked him and knew Mark was away. The excuses got more and more outlandish. He denied the perfume, saying I was imagining things, grasping at anything to blame him. But the conviction was gone from his voice. He looked cornered, desperate. I just stood there, silent, letting his ridiculous denials hang in the air. Finally, seeing the look on my face, the cold, hard certainty, he seemed to crumble. His shoulders slumped. He put his head in his hands for a moment. Then he looked up and his eyes were filled with tears. But this time, they did not look like tears of righteous anger or hurt innocence. They looked like tears of guilt. He confessed, read it. He admitted everything. He said Olivia was telling the truth. It happened just like she said. They were drunk. He was feeling insecure or bored or whatever pathetic excuse he tried to offer. I honestly started tuning out his justifications because they meant nothing, and he initiated it. He found Mark's spare key where Mark stupidly kept it hidden outside his door for emergencies, knowing Mark was away. They went to the apartment, they slept together, and he immediately regretted it. He admitted he begged Olivia to keep it secret, telling her it would destroy me, destroy everything. He admitted he coached her on what to say if I ever suspected anything. He admitted lying to my face, repeatedly, vehemently. He cried, he apologized profusely. He said it was the biggest mistake of his life, that he loved me more than anything, that he was weak and stupid. He begged me for another chance, pleaded with me not to throw away 5 years over one drunken mistake. Hearing him finally admit it, it was validating in a horrible way. I wasn't crazy. Olivia wasn't a malicious liar. My gut feeling, bolstered by the evidence, was right. But the validation was immediately drowned by a fresh wave of pain and disgust. He stood there, crying, begging, and all I felt was revulsion. The man I loved, the man I planned a future with, was a stranger, a weak, deceitful stranger. I told him to get out. My voice was dangerously quiet. He started protesting, begging again. I repeated it louder this time. Get out of my apartment. Now. He finally seemed to realize there was no talking his way out of this. The damage was done, the trust obliterated. He gathered his things, still sniffling apologies, and left. The moment the door closed behind him, my legs gave out, and I collapsed onto the floor, finally letting out the sobs I had been holding back. It was grief, anger, betrayal, all rolled into one overwhelming wave. After I pulled myself together, which took a while, let me tell you, I called Olivia. I told her Liam confessed. She was quiet for a long moment, then just whispered, "Oh, Chloe, I am so sorry for everything. For my part in it, for the pain this caused you, for breaking your trust." I asked her why. Why him? Why betray me like that? Her explanation mirrored Liam's in some ways: too much alcohol. Feeling lonely. She had recently gone through a breakup. Liam feeding her lines about feeling unhappy with me, making her feel desired for a moment. She stressed it wasn't an excuse, just the pathetic reality of that night. She said the guilt had been eating her alive, and confessing was the only way she could even look at herself, even though she knew it might cost her my friendship. We talked for a long time. It was raw, painful, full of tears on both ends. Is our friendship salvageable? Reddit, I honestly do not know. The wound is so deep. She participated in the ultimate betrayal, but she confessed. She faced me, took responsibility, unlike Liam, who only confessed when cornered with proof and seems genuinely devastated by her actions. Liam lied until he absolutely could not lie anymore. That feels different somehow. Does it excuse what she did? Absolutely not. But does it leave a tiny sliver of a possibility for eventual forgiveness down the very long road? Maybe. Right now, the thought of seeing her hanging out like normal feels impossible. The trust is gone there too, so Liam is gone. Good riddance. Our relationship is irrevocably over. Olivia is in limbo. I told her I need significant time and space, potentially a very long time, to even begin to process what happened and whether our friendship can survive this. She said she understood and would respect my decision whatever it is. I feel strangely empty now. The mystery is solved, the liars identified, but the wreckage is immense. I lost my partner and for all intents and purposes my best friend in the span of a week. But I also feel lighter. Knowing the truth, however ugly, is better than living in confused uncertainty. I know where I stand. I know who I can't trust, and I know I deserve better. Thank you, Reddit, for being my sounding board and my investigators. You helped me find the strength to push for the truth. Now comes the hard part, rebuilding. Update 4. Hi everyone, it's Chloe again. It's been about 6 months since my last update, and wow, life looks incredibly different now. I wanted to post one final update, partly because so many of you invested time and emotional energy into my situation. Thank you again, sincerely. And partly because I think sharing the resolution might help someone else going through something similar. Plus, you guys asked for closure, so where to begin? The immediate aftermath of the confrontation was rough. I spent a solid couple of weeks just existing in a fog of grief and anger. I cried a lot. I ate way too much ice cream. I leaned heavily on my family and a couple of other close friends who rallied around me instantly when I told them what happened, in vague terms, protecting Olivia's identity initially, though the truth eventually came out to those closest to me. Liam tried contacting me a few more times, pathetic emails, texts, even flowers sent to my work, all filled with pleas for forgiveness and talk about our 5 years together. I ignored everything and eventually had to block him on all platforms. Seeing his name pop up just triggered fresh waves of anger and hurt. As far as I know, he is still working at the same firm, though I heard through the grapevine that his reputation took a hit when rumors about his behavior started circulating. Serves him right, honestly. Now about Olivia. This was and still is the complicated part. As I mentioned, I told her I needed significant space, and I meant it. For the first 3 months, we had almost zero contact. She respected my boundary completely. No texts, no calls, nothing. During that time, I did a lot of soul searching, and yes, I started therapy, which many of you wisely suggested. It helped immensely. Talking to a neutral professional allowed me to unpack the layers of betrayal, Liam's infidelity and lies, and Olivia's participation and initial silence, followed by her confession. My therapist helped me understand that forgiveness isn't about excusing behavior, but about releasing the anger and pain for my own sake. She also helped me differentiate between Liam's actions, calculated deceit, until exposure, and Olivia's, a terrible mistake followed by guilt-driven confession and apparent remorse. It did not make what Olivia did okay, not by a long shot, but it put it into a different category than Liam's sustained betrayal. Around the 4-month mark, Olivia reached out with a carefully worded email. It wasn't pushy. She just reiterated her apology, said she hoped I was doing okay, and that she missed our friendship terribly but understood if it was gone forever. She mentioned she had also started therapy to understand why she made such a self-destructive choice. Reading it, I didn't feel the sharp anger I expected. I just felt sad. Sad for the friendship we had, sad for the trust that was broken, sad for the mess they both made. I didn't reply immediately. It took another few weeks of mulling it over. Could I ever trust her again? Maybe not in the same way. Would our friendship ever be the same? Definitely not. But was there potential for something new, something rebuilt on honesty, however painful? After 23 years, throwing it all away felt like another loss I wasn't sure I wanted to endure. If she was truly committed to making amends and rebuilding trust slowly. We met for coffee about a month ago. It was awkward, excruciatingly awkward at first. There were tears, mostly hers. She didn't make excuses. She owned her actions, expressed deep shame and regret, and answered all my questions honestly, even the difficult ones about the details of that night and her interactions with Liam afterward. She told me Liam had tried to contact her too after the breakup, trying to blame her or find some weird solace, and she had blocked him immediately, telling him she wanted nothing to do with him ever again. Hearing that helped, I won't lie. We talked for hours. It wasn't a magic fix. The hurt is still there, but it was a start. We agreed to try very slowly to see if we can rebuild something. No pressure, no expectations, just taking it one day at a time. We won't be the inseparable duo we once were, not for a long time, maybe never. But maybe we can be friends again eventually. The jury is still out, but the possibility is there, which is more than I thought possible 6 months ago. As for me, I am doing surprisingly well, Reddit. Better than well, actually. Getting rid of Liam, despite the initial pain, was like removing a tumor I didn't fully realize was poisoning me. Looking back, I see the subtle manipulations, the times he subtly put me down or made me doubt myself, things Olivia's confession indirectly brought to light. I feel lighter, freer, and more myself than I have in years. I've reconnected with other friends, thrown myself into hobbies I love, and even started tentatively thinking about dating again, though I'm in no rush. The focus right now is on me, on healing, and on building a life that makes me happy on my own terms. The experience shattered my world, but it also forced me to rebuild it stronger, brick by painful brick. I learned I am far more resilient than I ever gave myself credit for, so that's the end of this saga, I hope. It was a nightmare, but I came out the other side. Liam is out of my life for good. Olivia and I are cautiously exploring what, if anything, remains of our friendship, and I am okay. More than okay, I am actually pretty damn good. Thank you all one last time for walking through this fire with me. Your support was invaluable. I guess my final question for you, Reddit, is about Olivia. Am I being foolish for even considering letting her back into my life, even tentatively? Or is trying to salvage a 23-year friendship after such a massive betrayal a sign of strength rather than weakness? What do you think? Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.